Yeah. Give me a shout out in the chat if you can hear me. Make it a little too warm. Goodness. Hi guys. Hi there, Brayden, Geraldine, Greg, Joanna. Oh my gosh, Miss White Swan. Always a pleasure to see you here. Thanks for being here. Yeah, as you guys know from my title here, my birthday was yesterday. So, oh, Mary, nice to see you here too. But yeah, it was my birthday yesterday. I turned 42. I'm definitely not someone who's afraid to admit my age at this point. I'm like, I kind of like getting older. It feels good to get older, I once told God even, I was like, I won't mind so much getting wrinkles as long as they're smile lines. So, and that happens to be where I seem to get them the most. So that's all right. Yeah, I'm gonna move this a little forward actually. There we go. I got some fun stuff to talk about. I mean, a little bit, but I also got some heavy stuff to talk about because it's definitely a lot has happened between this stream and last week's stream. Oh, I wish to God, actually, I didn't have this to talk about this week. Quite honestly. Oh, hi, Queen Victor. Nice to see you here. Oh. Yes, one day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm. Thank you, Miss Liz. Thank you, Miss White Swan. I really appreciate that. It's been a rough one, and she knows because she's been there for me. So, I'm a baby still, Greg. Yeah, sure. I kind of feel like one sometimes, honestly. Sometimes I still feel like, how am I an adult? Yeah, and here's the thing. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking the other day that I like to stay in the place and in the space of my inner child. I prefer to be in the mindscape and the imagination of looking at things as if, you look through it with the innocence of the heart of a child. I always thought that was a really good place to be coming from when dealing with the world and dealing with people in it. It's still like trying to see the magic and trying to see the best in people and trying to see hope for the best in situations. And I think that, well, from what I explained to you guys last week, I think I've had a big wake-up call in realizing that actually there are times where other people are not in that space and they don't honor that space. And so a new version of me has to step forward, and a stronger version of me, the adult version of me. Like, I'm going to be the adult me taking care of little me, where I can still have that safe place and be that safe child. But I also need to have that adult version in me that's ready to stand up for myself and stand up for things that are wrong. So it's just kind of funny that I'm glad you triggered my mind to think that, Greg, because I planned on sharing that and I totally would have lost it. It would have just been gone. So I think for my birthday celebration, what I first want to do actually is I just want to open the fortune cookie, the collective fortune cookie pull, and we can talk a little bit about the exciting day that was my birthday. I was going to try and go live yesterday, but apparently the universe and my body was just like, no, we're not doing that today. Actually, no, we're just going to rest. We're going to rest. And to the point where my car battery died. My car battery, I made it to drop my son off at school. He had a half day yesterday. I came home, and in the driveway, my car, the light came on for the battery, and it had done that one other time too, to the day beforehand, and I was a little worried, but then it went off, and so I figured I was okay. And as I was sitting in the driveway, my car's light started to flicker, and then so I turned my car off, and then I turned it back on to see if it would come back on, and it wouldn't. So something is wrong with my car. And that essentially put me stuck at home. So I was like, okay, I guess they really want me to rest and relax. And I really needed it. And you know what? And you're going to know why after I get into the second part of what we're talking about today, which is what I experienced over this weekend and this past week. So let's pull the fortune cookie, shall we? Hello there, Stellar Shriner. Is that Shriner? Is that what? Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Nice to see you here. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. All right, and I did get some more fortune cookies. I for my birthday dinner, I chose Chinese, and so I got more fortune cookies to add to the pile. Well, I'm gonna say this one's it. Let's see what this good collective fortune cookie pull is gonna say. What do we need to hear? Tell me what we need to hear the most. What message do we need to hear from this fortune cookie? Let's do it. Let's kick it. Just it's in my head now. Great. Song playing. All right. Okay. Never judge a work of art by its defects. That's what I got. Never judge a work of art by its defects. That's true. This is true. Because, it's not perfection that makes something beautiful. It kind of makes me think of the Queen of Wands, or the Queen of Rods. Makes me think of that card because of the fact that usually the Queen of Rods character is very much passionate, and she's an actor, okay, and she's a doer in the world, and she brings a lot of passion to the table, but there's always usually something that she feels maybe a little bit ashamed of, that maybe that's not something that's not perfect, or in her eyes she doesn't think this part's not perfect, so therefore don't look at that, but really that's the thing that makes them unique and beautiful, is that little quirk to them that maybe they feel insecure about, but really they don't need to, so that's what that makes me think of. So we got into that a little bit. Let's see, what else did I do for my birthday? Yep, my car died. I got a lot of rest and relaxation. I got a lot of birthday messages from my friends, which meant so much to me. Quite honestly, I had such an outpouring of people that not just like messaged me on Facebook, like posted on my timeline, but people who actually reached out to me in text messages, like right away, right from the morning, and it really, considering what I've been going through, it was like exactly what I needed to get through it, to push forward a little bit more and realize like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. People love me and they see me. Woo! Okay, just clearing that up a little bit before I jump into that. And for some of you who have not been on my channel very long, or maybe you have, but just thank you, first of all. This actually is clicking me into something else. Thank you if you have subscribed to my channel recently. I really appreciate that. Please share my videos, and if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. It's really helping me out, slowly building up my subscriber count. It also helps my videos to be seen if you leave comments in the comment section. So definitely please like and share my videos. But I've been doing this here. It'll be on August. It will be 1 year since I've been doing my videos. Okay. And I remember one of the big ones one of the big messages or stories that I shared about myself when I first started these was one of the very teaching moment for me, a lesson that I guess you could say I learned. And because for me, birthdays, the day of your birthday, okay, is kind of like a macrocosm or the microcosm of what your macrocosm of your year is going to be like, okay? So I take my birthdays very seriously, and I try to make sure that they are filled with good feelings, doing things that I want to do that feel good to me, like how I'm spending my birthday for me is often, like I said, I feel like it's a reflection of the next year going forward. But one of the other little birthday stories though that I'd like to just bring up though is, a couple years back, after I had my soul bridge walk in and after my high heart activation, Me and my mom, we did not always have a smooth relationship between, me being a child and now. There was definitely some hard times between the two of us. And, one of those being that I just felt like I was never really seen for who I was, and I always just, everyone wants that. They want to be seen for who they are, like someone to be able to validate, like, I see you, I see what, who you feel like you are, and so for me, that particular birthday, I think it was 2 years ago now, I had gone to my mom's house and we were sitting down and she was telling me that she wanted to go buy me a cake, but she didn't even know what kind of cake that I liked. And she wanted to buy me, a gift. She went out to the store to buy me some clothes and such, and she didn't even know what I would like when she went to go pick. And for me, this was like really, like, it was heartbreaking. It made me tear up because it was like, wow, like, my mom doesn't feel like she knows me, is what she was saying. And truly, the truth was, it's the reason she didn't was because I didn't even know myself. I didn't know. She asked me what favorite cake what cake do you like? What's your favorite cake? I didn't know. I didn't know what to tell her. I was a completely new person having to figure out, like, who am I? And so I can tell you guys now that that really moved me, and I worked from that day forward. I was determined. I'm going to find out who I am, because if I can't even share myself with the people I love so that they can have that chance to love me, how are they going to? How can someone love you if they don't know who you are? So that was when I made the choice to really share myself with people, honestly share myself with people, tell people the truth about how I think, how I feel, what it is I like, what it is I don't like, because even if it was scary, I wanted to be brave, and I wanted people to have an opportunity to know the real me. And I had to start with me knowing the real me. And so that was just such a valuable lesson that I took away from my birthday. And just like the real gift that year was that, And so I can tell you guys that my favorite cake now is vanilla bean cake with macaroons, because macaroons are my favorite cookie. And so I had just a wonderful time with my children here. We got food. We got Chinese food last night. We got the cake, and they sang happy birthday to me. And it was truly wonderful. I watched anime with my sons. Anime with one of them, and then I watched a different type of animation cartoon with another one. And I went to bed early. I fell asleep early, and it was wonderful. I had just a very relaxing day. So on that note, okay, let's see if there's anything else I'm forgetting. Nope, on that note, so let's continue with what happened after last week's stream. Oh, hello there, Noble Truth. I want to say, like, Nobel, like it's noble truth. Hello there. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for coming to hang out. So, and I think there's one more thing that I did want to mention too about, my tarot spreads last week. They're always, I do them for the collective, but I'm part of the collective. And so they always hit me too. And I'm just going to apologize to you guys right now, because that second reading I did with the Adventure Time tarot cards, there were things that I was holding back because I was afraid of what I was seeing. And so I got stuck on some of it, but that was really because I was just afraid of what it was I was seeing. And I was right. Okay. I was like, no, thinking to myself as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't even want to say this out loud. And I didn't. And sure enough, I remember part of what I mentioned was possibly feeling rejected or displaced, and I definitely had a really hard time feeling displaced this past weekend. Some of what I talked about last week about the narcissistic abuse that I am experiencing, there's some things that I want to at least back up and explain about this. First of all, I know that the title, okay, the diagnosis of narcissist, covert narcissist, okay, I get it, that that's a heavy thing to put upon someone, so I could take that label back. I definitely could. I could just refer to this person as a toxic person, but the thing about narcissism and it being a personality disorder is that there are certain characteristics and things that go along with labeling it that personality. There's certain things that you have to look for in order for that to be a true diagnosis. Okay. So this person is not that I'm talking about. This person has not been to a therapist and been diagnosed with this. Okay. But I can tell you that from all the research that I've been doing and all the things that I have been experiencing, that this is the most this is the one that explains the most. Not just that, but they literally this person follows the scripts. Hey, a lot of narcissists, for some reason, a lot of narcissists, they have these same phrases, they have these same tactics, and so that is basically, I mean, like I said, that's basically what. Okay, yeah, I remember now. And then there's a difference. There's also a difference between someone who is being narcissistically abusive and emotionally abusive. Actually, those are two different labels, and I'll tell you what the difference between those two labels are and why I think that I'm dealing more with the narcissistic abuse as opposed to the emotional abuse. And it is because it's that person themselves. All of us can do things where we can be mean, we can make mistakes, we can get in heated arguments and say things we don't mean. Not all of us would be labeled narcissistic just because we do these certain things. We could be being emotionally abusive for sure, but ultimately we're the same person that we were outside of that argument. We still like the same things. We still do, like, we're the same person. We respond and react to people in the same ways that other people would, normal, typical people with emotional empathy, compassion, okay, are going to respond. Like, it's not like this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of scenario where suddenly at one day this person to be this certain way, and then the next day or a couple months down the road, click, something flips, and now there's someone completely different, someone completely unrecognizable, and now you're left figuring out, like, or you're left wondering, like, well, who is this person? Was that person that they presented themselves to be ever truly really that person? So I went slow on this one. Like, I've been dealing with this stuff now for over a year, and before I even knew that these were the differences between narcissistic abuse and emotional abuse, narcissism, NPD, or someone that's just a toxic person, before I even knew any of the details of what other people were sharing in their videos, I knew my experience. And I knew that I was using the exact same phrases that they were using. I literally called this person out and said, I don't know what is going on with you, but you are like night and day. You are like a different person. You're a different person when you're not around people as to when you are around people. Like, you're a different person than when I first met you. Like, I don't know what, like, it's like the mask just fell off. And this person even told me at one point that one day they woke up and it was like a flip, like a switch had been flipped, and they just didn't feel that same towards me. And I've watched many videos at this point where they say that's what happens for narcissists when they switch out of the love bombing idealization phase into the devaluation discard phase. Okay, so all these things that was happening to me, all I was doing was racking my brain thinking, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I seem to communicate right? Why can't I seem to get this back on track? Like, I don't have these problems with other people. Like, I don't understand. And this was the most explanative theory that I have come up with or come to find. Okay, so I'll begin with saying that I took my time in figuring this out, and I don't take this lightly. I don't take it lightly, and I wish to God and you know what? I hope to God, like, if I'm wrong, then I apologize. If I'm calling someone NPD and I'm misdiagnosing them and they're just a toxic person, well, I'm sorry. I'll absolutely apologize for that. But at this rate in my life, I have all of these examples, and I'm going to share some of these things with you of what I'm experiencing, what abuse can look like. Okay, so what happened last week? Well, last week I did my stream on 5 mental games that narcissists play. Okay, well, as it turns out, that the person that I was referring to and sharing my experiences about them with, that person watched the stream. They were in the stream. Okay, so that in itself did not bother me, quite honestly, because there was nothing that I said, and still to this day, there's nothing that I'm saying on my streams that I have not said to him directly. Like I know at one point I mentioned the fact that I never fell in love with this person, even though this person was love bombing me and wanting me to feel that way, that there was some kind of red flag that just kept me from being able to go that route. Now, not just that, but the fact that, they were not consistently kind to me. And you kind of got to be consistently kind to someone for a long enough period of time for those types of falling in love feelings to take hold, in my opinion. So like, when I sit here and I share with you guys, like, well, one of the things I'm kind of lucky on it that I did not fall in love with this person. So I don't have I didn't have that idealized, oh my God, oh, type of version of them sit up in my mind, because I was already like kind of giving it the, like, what's going on here kind of look, and I told them this the whole way. I told them this. I told them who I was. I told them, like, this is how I feel about you. This is how I feel about the things that are happening with us. This is what I want for the future. This is who I am. This is what I have to give. I showed I went so vulnerable. I went to such vulnerable places with this person. And they, at this point, have used every single vulnerability that I have shared with them against me. And I'm going to get into some examples of that so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. And maybe you can relate to it somehow. Okay. So this person came into my stream. All right. And I knew I was going to be punished for it, because there's always a punishment. Okay. Like there's always a punishment. All right. So first thing this person did was tell me aggressively that I did a nice stream, which I was like, okay, like what's coming next, basically. I had mentioned my daughter and how things had gotten a little bit difficult between the two of them. And so the first thing this person started to do was be super duper extra nice to my daughter in ways that it's like when someone wants to play good cop, bad cop with a child. Okay, my daughter's 6. Okay, so now there's things that she's wanting to do, and I'm telling her no, and she gives me a hard time. She's at that age, okay? She gives me a hard time. All right, and I'm telling her no, you can't do this certain thing. And it had to do with a bag of peanuts. I'll just tell you guys. She wanted to roasted peanuts over a bonfire, and I was telling her no, like, we're not going to waste these peanuts. Well, I got corrected and stopped at that point, and got told, no, she can do that. She can do that, which I wasn't about to make a bigger deal about it, because now, like, she has 2 adults conflicting, telling her 2 different things, and I want her to be happy, and whatever, it's his peanuts, fine. Go ahead and let her do that. But I could feel it, because that's the thing. We are empaths here. It's not like I'm just going on words alone. I'm going off of experiences, okay? And I'm going off of my ability to read energy, which is on point. Okay, it's on point with I've done enough experiments to know for sure that have had confirmations to know that what I'm feeling from this person and how it's hitting me is what it is. Okay, so then it was like close to her bedtime, and this person was basically, she was like, oh, let's stay up and let's do this and let's watch a movie, and they're like, yeah, we can go ahead and do that. And no, like, this person knows, like, it's her bedtime, and so now I have to be the bad guy. Then I have to tell her no. Okay, so this was already a manipulation tactic of his that my daughter is not going to be able to circumvent, because she's 6. She's not going to know. She's not going to understand what is happening here. But anyway, so I thought that was going to be the end of it. I thought that was going to be the worst of it. Okay, because truly, as I've expressed here before, I'm living in a war zone right now. I'm living in a war zone. This is not a safe place. This is not a safe space. Okay, and that's part of why I'm struggling so much, and that's part of why I've been falling into a depression and just really like down on myself. Okay, feeling like I don't know how I'm ever going to get out of this. This just seems like the work, like hopeless. How am I ever going to do this? I can never feel good enough about myself to start getting up and doing those things that would take me out of that situation, right? I'm sure anyone who has experienced this type of abuse can kind of understand how it beats you down and it breaks you. Okay, so the next day, this person asked me, since they'd watched my stream, they asked me for reconciliation. Now, this is the first time they've ever used this word with me. Okay, the first time they've ever asked for it from me, because I certainly have. I certainly had begged, pleaded, and cried for many a days, many a times, asking just for reconciliation. Can we please find a way to communicate with each other to where we can reach some type of reconciliation and some kind of peace, some where things can get resolved, where we can let go of things and move on. Okay, well, now this person says they want reconciliation. And I said, no. Like, you had that chance. Like, there's the only reconciliation I can think of at this point is just to not talk as much as possible. That's really the only thing, because I can't trust this person not to attack me and tear me down. It's literally like every other sentence. Okay. So they asked me for reconciliation, and then they asked me if I'd be willing to go to couples counseling, which was another suggestion I had made months ago when it was still a viable option. At this point though, no. Why would we go to couples counseling? Like, if anything, we both need to go to therapists on our own. If he wants to go to a therapist, that would be great. I encourage that. I'm looking for my own. I don't know if anyone else has a hard time finding one, but I'm having a hard time finding an in-person therapist that I can go to. That's really what I'm looking for, and trying to find one that takes my insurance so I can go and get some other support here, because I don't claim to be perfect. I've never claimed to be perfect. I just want to be treated with the same dignity, respect, and compassion that I try to give every other person in the world that I come into contact with. So ultimately, the one safe space that I could say that I have, okay, that isn't a physical location either, has been my friends group. Okay, it's been here, like this right here. This is my safe space. This is my last safe space. Is here with you. And the one other safe space that I thought I had was with my other friends group. And this is not something like, this is like, starting out at the beginning of this, I invited this person to all of these things that I do, all these activities that I do. I would invite them, like, come and hang out, and they did, and they would come and they would hang out. But a couple months back that changed. Where they just had a different feeling about it now, and I noticed that they dropped out. I mean, they would literally be in the same room with me while I would be doing these meetings, and they would just refuse to participate anymore. And when I asked, like, why aren't you participating anymore? And they said, well, they were never really into that stuff like I was to begin with. Not only that, but they basically said that me and this other person promised that if he just did this work, like for me, I like encouraged him to do A Course in Miracles, and so we made these promises that it would help him find his connection to God. And since that didn't happen and he doesn't feel any different, there's no reason for him to go to these things anymore, basically, he said. So I accepted it at the time. Like, what else can I do? Like, I'm still going to go enjoy my friends group. I love my friends. I care about them. I know they're the real deal. Okay. And so, yeah, wouldn't you know it, though, that particular day, the day that he asked me for reconciliation to go to couples counseling, and I said no, I knew there was going to be a punishment for it. And actually, my friend had already had a premonition that something like this was going to happen. And he pushed himself into my space. He came to the meeting. He came, and here's the weird part about it is, like, there was nothing I could do about it. Like, I wasn't going to go all crazy or anything like that. But he purposely came in the room and in the bedroom that I won't hang out in anymore. If he's home, I want to give him his space. I just am asking for mine back. I'll give you your space. You can give mine. And that means but I'm displaced. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a bed to sleep in. I have to sleep on the couch or my son's bed. And I'll do it. I'll do that because it's worth it to get out of that energetic field that I'm in when it's just causing me so much chaos and so much just negativity and turmoil coming out of it. But this person shut and locked the doors, basically. Maybe not locked, but they shut the doors in a way. We never shut these particular doors. So I could just sense it. So they're in that space, and I did not know I was going to have the physical reaction that I had. Because, at first when something happens to you and it's traumatic and it's shocking, like, sometimes it takes a moment to figure out, what was that? Like, what just happened? Why am I feeling this way? Like, do I have a valid reason to feel this way? Is this trigger coming from something else it's making this more intense when it shouldn't be, And I just realized, like, I literally went into shock. I literally went into physical shock. And I had to sit there and pretend like I was okay. I had to sit there. I even came on the mic at one point. I had to pretend like I was okay, and like everything was fine. And like I wasn't just completely devastated and felt like and violated. I felt violated. I felt betrayed. I felt like, wow, the one safe space that I had left, and this person wants to make sure that I know that I don't have that they can get into that. It's not like this person didn't know it was going to hurt me. They knew it was going to hurt me. They admitted as such the next day. And so here was the most stressful part about it, was that, yes, things can be traumatizing. They can put you into shock and they can be upsetting. But this was upsetting to a new level to me, where it didn't even register until I woke up at 1:30 in the morning that night. And I was up from 1:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the morning, just crying and pacing outside. Like, because I literally could not think of anything else. I couldn't watch any YouTube videos. I couldn't watch TV. There was nothing that I couldn't listen to any music. Like, there was not a single thing that I could do to get me out of those feelings and that state of just complete desperation, depression, hopelessness, helplessness. Like there's nothing I can say or do. Like, look at this. Wow. It does not matter what I say, does not matter what I do, does not matter what I feel. This person does not care. They have no regard for that. If they feel like their justification trumps my feelings, they're going to do what they want. And I was absolutely devastated. And I realized that actually I had experienced another instance like this. And I did not know it when I had experienced it back then, but I figured out later on that this was PTSD. This was a PTSD response that I was having, where you just get flashbacks and you can't think of anything else, and you're going, you're just in that just horrible, horrible place. And it the worst part is that it didn't only affect me, it affected my children. My mom had stopped by to help my son with something, and she saw me. It affected my mom. She was so upset for me. She was trying to comfort me, and there was nothing she could do. I tell her, like, I just need to be alone at this point. My oldest son came to me, and he told me that he had the worst night that he's had in years. And my son used to suffer really hard with depression and suicidal thoughts and everything. Like, years ago he did. And he came to me and he told me that he had the worst night that he ever had, that same night that I was struggling. And he told me, like, what he's watching me go through and what he's watching me be put through is really hard for him to handle. And he broke down and started crying a little bit. And he said, the thing that he thinks gets to him the most, and I'm just going to tell you guys right now, like, trigger warning, this is something that this person has said to me at one point, and my son heard this. Okay. Where basically the person who was emotionally abusing me, they basically said to me during a conversation, just a regular conversation, like, not that it was regular, but we weren't arguing. We were having something. We were, trying to sift something out, I suppose you could say. And they said, what is your value? What is your value? What is your worth? And I kind of just, my jaw dropped, like, what do you mean? What is my value? Like, all human beings have value. I have value as a living being, a part of God. Like, that's my value. Like, what are you talking about? And that was the thing that my 24-year-old son came crying to me about, was that really bothered him, that he said that to me, that he could say that to me. And this is not it's not the first and only time that he has said something like that or implied something like that to me, and it's just so frustrating, because what do you say to someone who says something like that? What do you say? Like, I spent most of the time before I ever opened my mouth up on these streams about this, I spent most of my time just trying to defend myself and explain myself and justify just existing and acting as myself and thinking as myself. And they give me a hard time about it. And they act like it's not understandable and I don't make sense, or, like that I'm not okay. I'm just not okay to be who I am, which just blows my mind. So, let's see. So when I'm talking about narcissistic abuse, when I'm talking about emotional abuse, I'm not talking about, oh, okay, a little fight here and there, someone says something mean, and they can't take it back, and now they have to apologize and, make up for it and stuff like that. No, I'm talking about something that is long-standing and consistent emotional abuse. And that is what I have been experiencing now for over a year with this person. Okay. And it's a nightmare. Let me just put that mildly. It's a nightmare. So one of the things that stood out to me in one of the videos, and I have it written down, I'm just going to say this real quick. Relationships are built on truth. Trust is the fruit of telling the truth in relationships. So what are we going to go over? There's a couple things I wrote on the title that I want to get over. Okay, I want to go over covert contracts. I want to go over what happens to the brain as you experience this abuse. Okay, but I'm just going to give you some small examples before I go into that, so that way I can refer to some of these things as I bring up the topics or the warning signs, so to speak, an explanation. Okay, I'm just going to say some of the things that that I've experienced. So I've gotten the what is your value worth question. Okay, one time he tried to tell me, we were talking about, and I can honestly be completely open and honest with you about the context of this. He was talking about, okay, you know how people sometimes get messages from like randos on Facebook or whatever, and they're like, I see something in your aura, and I want to offer you a reading. I see something very special about you, and I would love the opportunity to give you a reading. Would you mind if I do that? And those are always red flags. Most people know those as red flags, that people who are legitimately in this tarot business or healing business or whatever, like, you don't go chasing down the customers. Okay, it's usually a red flag. So this person had been getting quite a few messages like this as in the last couple months, okay, for another reason, okay, that they'd signed up and got involved with this group, that I think that's where they kind of got tagged or flagged for other people of similar nature to come and start messaging them, because they're kind of vulnerable and gullible to this type of stuff. And so he was talking to me about how one of these types of people that had saw these gifts in him and seen his aura and had a reading and a message for him, this one particular person ended up said, I want to be your mentor. I'm going to be your spiritual mentor. Which at the time, like, for me, like, fine, let someone else try. Like, I'd already fucking tried. I'd already done it. I'd already tried. I was done. I'm giving up. Like, whatever. So this person was their mentor, okay, and they'd only been talking for a very short time. And one of the things that he told me was that this mentor of theirs told him that he should kick me and my kids out. They should kick us out. And so I said, well, I personally don't care to hear anything else about your mentor or what your mentor has to say, quite honestly. If that's the perspective that she's getting, that she's going to be so quick to make a judgment like that when she has only known you for a short time. Like everyone needs people on their side. I'm not saying he shouldn't go have people that he can talk to and tell his side of the story, and they're going to be, on his side and be like, yeah, I can see, how that would not feel good or whatever it is. I get it. Because I have those too, But the thing is that at this point in time, in this particular example, all I did was just tell them, like, I personally, go ahead and talk to your mentor. Don't mind. But I don't want to hear about what they have to say anymore if that's what they're going to be telling you. And he told me basically, he said, I wrote it down. That's right, because and he said this in a serious way. He said that I hate everyone or everything that doesn't agree with me. Hello there, Matthew and Honora. Nice to see you guys here. Oh, Sandra too. Hi, nice to see you there. Chick. Oh, wait, and Janice. All right, I think I got everyone now. So one of the things that they told me was that I hate everyone or anything that doesn't agree with me. This was like, I was like, what? Like, not to put Democrats down or anything, but I'm like, I'm not a Democrat, like I don't sit there and disagree with everything. That's not anywhere near who I am. I'm inclusive. Are you kidding? Like, how could you even think that about me? How could you even think that that's it's so far from the truth? So it was kind of one of those ones where it wasn't too upsetting, just because it was like, I knew I didn't have an insecurity in that one. There was no insecurity that got triggered with that one, but it definitely was like, what the flip are you talking about? Like, that's not anywhere near who I am. I can't even imagine someone who knows me sincerely would ever think that that's how I feel about things that don't agree with me. Like, that's not the case. Okay, so let's see, what else do we got here? Okay, so after I was in that post-traumatic stress disorder state, okay, I literally was like frozen. I could not talk. Okay, well into the next day. And my mom, like I said, I mentioned my mom had seen me, and she was so upset by the state that she saw me in that she decided to step in, and she wanted to try and be a mediator and try to get some peace going between the two of us. Okay, so she had already been, I guess she had already, like, I did not ask her to do this. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. I did not ask her to do this, but I was grateful afterward. I'll tell you that one. I was grateful afterward because, part of the reason I think I didn't ask her is because I didn't think it was going to get anywhere. I didn't think, like, what else can be said? Like, he just does not have any regard for my feelings whatsoever. So what was she going to be able to say? Well, she came over, and I'll tell you what it did do. It gave me validation, because he tried all the same games, all the same tactics, all the same manipulations, all the same distortions on truth. But the problem is that a lot of the things he was bringing up, she happened to be a party to, because I'm quick. Like, if someone says something, I need that. I want it logged. You know what I'm saying? So I'm, like with my friend Miss Liz, if something just happened to me, I know she's there to hold space for me. I'll sit there and I'll text her. Oh my gosh, like, this just happened. Because sometimes I need another viewpoint. Am I acting crazy? Am I acting over the top about this? Or is this as bad as it sounds? Okay. So my mom come, and she stepped in to try and make peace, help bring peace between the two of us. And she got to see all the things that I was talking about. And so I had some validation in that regard. And that was nice. That felt really nice. Okay. And so part of what I was saying during this talk between the three of us is I was saying, it's not like I begged this person to buy me a house. It's not like I even went out looking for this person or a person to buy me a house. Like, was I trying to manifest someone to come in and help me that we could we could do this together and I could get out of the bad position that I was in my last house? Yeah, absolutely. But I was still hesitant even when this person stepped forward. They offered it up. All I even mentioned, all right, to get them to bring this up was, I said, I just got a reading done, and the person said in the reading that I would be moving. They actually had a date. It was January 23rd at the time. And so at that point, this person said, hey, I got an idea. How about we both help each other out? And because he said, I was already going to do this. I already planned on getting a home. It's already a thing I'm going to be doing. So you'll just be helping me out. I'll be helping you out, and you'll be helping me out, because then I'll have someone there that can watch the home, and it can take care of it if something happens, this or that, the other thing. And I was like, okay, but I made sure to cover all my bases. We had a good 8 months before I actually moved in here, and I thought I covered everything. I thought I addressed all of the things that would need to be addressed when it came to what's the plan here, like what's the goal here, like are there conditions upon which that I need to know about? I asked about those. I wanted to know, like, what is it? What is it that you're expecting of me back? And this person explained to me that they just they wanted to invest in me. They invest in people. They believed in me. And so therefore they wanted to help me, because right off the bat, again, I had already let this person know right off the bat, like, I am not someone, if you're looking for marriage and a baby, I am not someone who is for you in the long term. I'm not that one. And I continued to say that because I continued to feel that way. And I refuse, I just refuse to be treated or feel like I like someone later on will say, like, oh, you hid this from me, or, you misled me. Like, no, I was purposely having these hard talks. I was purposely having these hard, things back and forth. I was purposely doing that so that way I could make sure that I knew what I was getting into. I thought, I know what I'm getting into, right? Okay, so back to the conversation I was having with my mom and the person. And I was saying to them, like, don't you remember, like, the whole plan all along, and I've said this a million times, the whole plan all along was for me to finally have you were offering me the opportunity to have a safe space, a stable home for me and my children, so that I could finish healing, because I'd already done so much and I'd come so far, so that I could finish healing and get myself back on my feet and find a way to make a career and an income for myself. That was always the plan. And as I said that, this person said to me and to my mother, come on now, have you ever been that? Have you ever been that way? And it's like, it feels like someone's stabbing you. It feels like someone's stabbing you energetically when someone says something like that to you. Like again, but this goes back to that manipulation tactic that I talked about last week about the psychic reading. Okay, this person thinks that they know who I was and what I do, even in eras where they had nothing to do with me and they did not know me at all. Okay, and for him to say that to act like he could be the judge and say that I've never been that I've never had an income, I've never been on my feet, never had home, like, that's just, it's absolutely ludicrous. Because actually I had a trust fund when I was younger, and I bought my first home at 18 years old, and I moved out at 18 years old. I had my first son already, and I had a car, and I had regular jobs there at the beginning, but then eventually I went to college, okay, and I ended up becoming a doula and then a midwife. And it was about probably 26 years old that was when things started to go kind of south for me, because there were things that I'd not dealt with emotionally, trauma, old childhood wounds and everything like that. And so I was, had toxic things going on in my life at that time, and I handled them the wrong way. I made mistakes, and I chose to go down the road of drug addiction. Okay, that's what I did. I went down the road of drug addiction. And it took me a long time to climb back out of that, because I was just trying not to feel the pain that I was in all the time. It took me a long time to figure out how to get out that, and to how to have good feelings and happiness again. So for this person in that moment, as I'm sitting there like pleading, because I'm just wanting peace. I'm just wanting understanding. I just want to be understood. And for me to be able to say, like, this was the plan all along. Well, they never believed in me to begin with, if that's what they're saying to me. That come on now, have you ever been like that? Have you ever done that? Like, well, actually, as a matter of fact, I have. My mom actually stepped in at that point for that one, because she was just like, what are you thinking, dude? What are you thinking? Okay, so what are some of the other things, though? Okay, one of the other things, gaslighting, and the manipulation tactics that we're talking about. Gaslighting, deny and deflect. Well, here's a perfect one of deny and deflect. Okay, gaslighting, deny, and deflect. All right, so one of the things that he said to me not long ago, I have a second oldest son who is obviously of working age, being at the age he is. Okay, 20. Okay, so my son has been looking for a job. Okay, or at that point had been looking for a job. All right, it was not an easy thing for him to warm up to do or anything. Like, no one, when they've been through hardship, because we've had a hard life. Like, he had to go through that drug addiction with me. He has type 1 diabetes. There's a lot of things that he's experienced in his life that led up to this was not going to be something easy for him, but he was going to do it. And we were doing that. We were going out, we were, applying to jobs, but I can't make those places call him back. Okay. So at one point, this person called me, and it always starts like this. Okay. It always starts with a normal thing. And if I don't give them the response that they want, then they go into attack. Okay. It's like, so for instance, back at the Journey to Truth conference, the day I was coming home, they messaged me and they said, how was the trip? I said, good. They said, I plan on doing some work outside the house with your son David in the backyard tomorrow. I said, awesome. And then it was like, so I guess you're not talking to me still, huh? Like I said, two things. So that's usually how it starts, okay? So at this point, he had asked me something just benign, and I had answered him, and it wasn't the response he wanted. And so he said, so does Isaac have a job yet? We're working on it. Well, just so if Isaac doesn't get a job, then he's going to end up homeless. If Isaac doesn't get a job by this certain date, actually, it was a certain date they put before me, then he's going to be homeless. This immediately sends me into fight or flight. Like, I hung up. I'm like, this is scary. This is scary as fuck. This person uses their ability, the power that they have over the fact that they own this house and they pay for the bills here. Okay, as if, which they offered to do. Okay, which seriously, and we're going to get into covert contracts in a minute because this has to do with that. So he tells me, this certain date, it's going to be homeless. Okay. I immediately hung up. I'm upset. This was before the trip. I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, like, he's saying this, like, because again, immediately, like, I need someone, like, I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm going for support. Okay. And she was so upset. Okay. That she did send him a text message. And she was just like, she just flat out asked him, did you say this? Did you say this to Cassie? And he sent back a voice message. And the voice message basically said, yes, I did. I only said it the one time. I know I shouldn't have said it. My mom sent me this voice message. And so, okay, like, I heard that. So I knew that was real. Well, a week or so ago, I brought that up. I brought up the fact that he had said that and how much it had hurt me. And he denied it. He said he never said that. He never said that. I'm like, I know for a fact you said that. Like, I know you said that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, my mom even had, like, confronted you on the fact that you said that. And he said, nope, he never said that. So I had to go back and I had to find, sorry, I got hair going on here. So I had to go and I had to find the text messages of what exactly it is that, because I told my mom word for word what it was that he had said at the time. And so I was able to look at it and it said, no, you absolutely did say that. And, so my mom was here, all right, during that conversation, trying to at least bring some kind of peace. And that gets brought up. He brings that up. The fact, I think it was my mom. My mom brought up, like, you remember when you said that? You know, like, remember when you threatened it? Like, she's using this in a way to say, like, do you think this builds up a positive relationship between the two of you when you say things like this? You know, and at this point, he wasn't denying it anymore. He said, yeah, he said that, but that wasn't how he meant it. And he had said that to me too. Yeah, I said those words, but that's not how I meant it. How else is someone supposed to take that? How else? If this person doesn't have a job by this date, they're going to be homeless. Okay. Get it. There's this double standard. There's loads of double standards that come along with being with someone who is toxic in this way. Okay. So let's see. Yep. Let's get into the covert contract, because I think that's really, where I fucked up, or at least just didn't know well enough. Just wasn't. I was naive. I was looking for the best. I was so in a bad situation that I was desperate to get out of, that I just thought, this can't be worse than this. Okay, now what a covert contract is when someone, okay, offers you a gift under the premise that this is a gift, that they're giving this to you out of the kindness of their heart, and they don't expect anything back in return, because that's what a gift is. A gift is something you give someone without expecting something back. Okay, otherwise it's not a gift. It's a covert contract. And to know this, to know whether or not that's the case, the person who's giving the gift has to be able to have enough self-reflection and self-awareness to be able to ask themselves, okay, like, am I having expectations behind this? Okay, so part of what they were saying was, like, if you got to think about it to yourself for a minute. If you give this thing to this person, now imagine that they're not ever going to give you anything back, that you're never going to get anything back for it. And how does that make you feel? Okay, there's nothing wrong if it does make you feel resentment. Then there's nothing wrong if it makes you feel like, oh wait, I did kind of want to expect something back in return. There's nothing wrong. It's about being honest with yourself about it. If that was the case, because then you just, you deserve to give that other person the same honesty that you're being willing to give yourself in that moment of, was there this expectation? Okay, so like, if you give someone something, okay, and then they don't give you anything back, and then you're sitting there and you're all like resentment, like in anger, like, why have they done this thing for me back, and now the other person's getting resentful. So I'm now going to be resentful, because I'm like, why are you treating me like this? Why are you acting? Why are you being all full of resentment? Like, I didn't beg you for this. In fact, I did everything the opposite to try and make sure, like, if you're doing this, please just be doing it for the right reason. Please don't let it be. Because if it was for the wrong reason, I was ready to drop it. I was ready. It would have been, hindsight's 2020. I guess that's what it comes down to. Hindsight's 2020. So when it comes to covert contracts, be careful when people are giving you things. I'm not saying that, like, you're going to know, you're going to feel it. If something maybe won't feel right, like, oh, this person's giving me too much and something about it doesn't feel right, and there were times, there were many things that I was just like, like, this doesn't feel like this person is buying me this because they really love me and they care about me and they want me to be happy. It feels like they're buying me these things because they want me to act like and pretend like everything is okay after the conflicts and the destruction from the abuse. That's love bombing. I did not have a good, strong, firm foundation of what love bombing exactly was. But now I understand all those times, all those arguments where immediately they would go and they would just spend all this money on me. Like, oh, I'll buy the whole grocery load. Oh, you want that dance mat? I'll get that for you. Like things I wouldn't even have to ask. That's the thing. And I didn't, because I have a hard time asking for what I need. Personally, just me, I have a really hard time expressing what my needs are and asking for them. But I already knew that asking for things makes me kind of feel like a burden, especially if it was financial stuff. So I purposely would not be asking for things, and this person would be buying me these things all, like the slightest mention of it, like they would get it for me, and that things would add up because they were expecting. It was a covert contract. They were expecting me to let go of the pain and the hurt that was unresolved from all these other instances. And a part of me felt like I had to. I went along with it. I felt obligated, like, well, how can I say anything? This person, like, they just took care of this physical need for me. How can I say anything? This person, like, I do have a home. Like, I am grateful for the fact that I'm living in a home, that's nice and safe and secure for the most part, but secretly inside the home, though, it was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And that's the issue. That's why the covert contract is such a tricky thing. You need to be careful. You need to watch out for yourself when it comes to these types of things. Okay, so I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I want to go over before I get on to some of these other things. Okay. Yep. Another thing that I think is worth mentioning is that when you're going through the abuse, it can create kind of a tunnel vision effect, and it kind of puts you into survival mode in a way that you're not able to piece together the whole, all the pieces to see the bigger picture of how bad it really is until something snaps in you and you're able to finally rise up and do that. Because let me tell you something, by the time the confusion and the trauma and the upset from these nonstop, these slight digs, these slight attacks, these overt attacks, not just covert, but overt attacks both ways, it kept me living. It slowly kept taking me more and more into survival mode, to where it was like, wow, like now I stop and I come back out of it and I look back and I'm like, oh shit, this is actually worse than I thought it was. Like, it's a sad thing, guys. I'm laughing, but it's a sad thing. Yeah, and hurting someone and then expecting them to pretend that it never happened, that is emotional neglect. And that is one of the biggest things that I think people in toxic relationships, that they maybe they're unaware of. So that can be some of the covert abuse that you can experience, is maybe not necessarily them always out, like, saying the things, but the things that they're not saying, the sincere apologies, the showing you that your feelings actually meant something, like that just doesn't come out. That's the emotional neglect. Okay, so the other thing that I mentioned in the title that I'm going to get into in a minute. Okay. Doot. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, is how it affects the brain. But actually, before I go into that, I actually jotted down a few notes from this one other video that I think was really, really helpful. And it was about 8 things that authoritarian narcissists just don't get. Because this seems to be the thing that I feel like I am dealing with the most. Just this authoritarian person that wants to come in and boss me around, kind of. Because I think that the covert contract that I really slipped into here by agreeing to come and move here in this home was that the contract was eventually I was supposed to treat them like a husband, like a wife treats a husband, like a romantic partnership, like that, even without the work, even with all the damage that was when we went into this. And it was like, no, that's not what it's supposed to be. I'm trying to, like, no, like I like, they want me to take care of the house at standards. Okay, with these standards, it's like the house is nice. They're picking me they're picking on me about it because they know my vulnerability about my last house. Okay, they use my vulnerabilities to hurt me. Okay, if I'm not acting or behaving in the way that they want me to behave, well, then they'll just pick one of the vulnerabilities and they'll just fire away. Okay, so the 8 things that an authoritarian narcissist does not get is that, and this is what I've experienced, is number 1 is that I am not some flunky who needs to be told what to think. I can give you a small example of that one, and it has to do with when we get food. in the house. Let's say we ordered dinner, we ordered pizza or something like that. And I'll be sitting down, I'll be doing something, and I hear the food came in, you know. And he gets up, he tells me to get up and get food for my children. Get up and get plates down, and get up, and you need to go get the kids food. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, dude, like, I've gotten my kids food their entire life. Like, I don't need you to tell me to go get their food. And these are just little digs. These are just little slights that are just letting me know how he really thinks about me. Okay. And so, you know, obviously I don't say anything back at those points because it's just like, but it's painful. It's painful. It hurts. It's like they're always looking down at me, making me feel like I'm stupid, like I'm not good enough, like the way I do things are not good enough. Okay. One of the things that they said to me was when we were talking about what I do as far as like going to these conferences and being online and stuff like that. And they said to me, you think you help people? You think you help people? And it gets to you, especially if you're already in a state of trauma from something else that they said. All right. And that's basically the MK Ultra programming right there. You get traumatized, and then whatever they speak into you is what becomes your own inner voice. So this has been a real struggle for me because as I'm getting these triggers and as I'm being put in these traumatized states, he's saying these types of things to me, and it's sinking in and it's programming my brain. Okay, this is some of the long-term effects of emotional abuse, verbal abuse. Okay. One time we were talking about my kids, and he was complaining about the fact that they don't talk to him a lot, and they don't come and address him. Like, they don't, like, I guess, run out when he comes home, run out and be like, hey, how you doing? You know, like, they're just normal people. Like, they're just, like, I never would have thought twice about it. I've been living with my kids for, like, in a life with people for 42 years, and I did not see anything wrong with this behavior. I mean, we talk when he was around, we would talk. Okay, so I was just saying to him, like, you know, but ultimately, I said to him, you know, but ultimately, my kids are good people, like, you know, because he was implying that they weren't, is what the thing was happening. He was like basically saying, like, this is what makes them bad people, is that they don't act in these certain ways, they don't say these things when he wants them to be said. And so I was just saying to him, like, no, I said, but ultimately, deep down, my children are good people and they have good hearts. And he said, that's your opinion. That's your opinion about children. Okay, this is what I'm going through. Okay. And I'll just give you an example, because it's not like there aren't times that he tries to come back to me and say that I'm emotionally abusive to him, which I'm more than willing to own up to the fact that I'm not perfect, and that when I have been like a soda can shaken up so much, okay, to the point where now you say one thing and now that soda can, you open it and it's sprayed like there. I am a human being, okay, and any normal human being under this type of stress and pressure is going to have an explosive outburst at some point. Okay. Like, and I forgive myself for that, and I apologize for that, and that's one of the biggest differences, I think, is that I sincerely feel super bad about moments like that, and I always try to come back and be like, you know, I'm sorry, I could have acted better, and you know, I shouldn't have said those things, and I or at least I should have not added those extra verbiages and such things of that nature. You know, I don't get that same. I don't get that same back. I don't get those same types of apologies or reflections that come back in kind. So, but he, like, I will tell you what he accused me of being emotionally abusive on, and he accused me. He said that I was emotionally abusive by not unpacking my boxes when I first moved in here. Okay, when I first moved in here, which this was a double blow. Okay, it was a double dig. because again, I am very open in sharing my vulnerabilities, and I was really struggling when I first moved into this house. It was a trauma for me just moving into this house and feeling like now I had I thought it was a safe place. And so all these old wounds and traumas and things of that I needed to heal, these feelings that I needed to heal, were finally coming out, and it was leaving me completely frozen. But that wasn't all of it. It wasn't just moving here. The truth of the matter was is that I wasn't wanting to face and own up to at that point was that we had already been in this abusive relationship. It's not like it just started just when we moved in. Like, it had already been happening. I had already been noticing the changes in my behavior, in my physical responses to just being in his presence. And you guys need to pay attention to this. Pay attention to what your body feels when you're around people. Pay attention. Believe what your body is telling you. I wish I had done the same, because my body was telling me I was in danger. My body was telling me I was afraid. But it's kind of like, this is the only example I can think of, like when you're little and you have that weird uncle that comes over that maybe is like a little bit creepy or whatever it is, and you get that creeped out feeling, and you don't want to be around that person, and you don't want to hug them, and but then your parents are like, oh, you want to be, don't be rude, be polite, go up and give your uncle a hug. Like, that's violating boundaries. Okay? You're teaching children to violate their own boundaries, to disrespect their own feelings. Okay, well, that is what I did. I fell into this programming, okay, of, hey, like, no, I can't. He's like not doing anything outright. Like, how could I be feeling this way? But I already was feeling this way. So back to the way this was a double dig. Why my not unpacking the boxes was somehow emotionally abusive was because I had already opened up and cried my eyes out and confessed to him that moving into this house showed me that, as far as taking care of a house, like cleaning it on a regular, but like knowing exactly what order to go in and knowing like, okay, like how to best utilize my time, that I did not know how to do that. That I was basically felt like I was 14 years old. Okay. And that when I was 14, okay, my job was to pick up a little bit around the house and do the dishes. That was my job. Okay. For chores. So, like, for me to realize, like, wow, this is how far back I am as far as where I'm at and how far I need to go and where I need to grow to. Okay. And so I cried about the fact that I could not get it. I just didn't have it in me to pull the boxes out and to unpack them. I just did not have it in me. And it was driving me crazy to the point where I was even trying to have another friend of mine, who's a moderator on this channel, actually, Ascension Diaries, shout out. Okay. Like, I was trying to have her come visit me so that way I could have someone else sit down and help me figure out like why I can't go, why I'm struggling so much to just unpack these boxes. So he knew that this was already something that I was in turmoil about. And yet, this is one of the ways that he tried to tell me I was emotionally abusive towards him because I didn't unpack all of my boxes in the garage. Tells me that I'm abusive back to him because I'm just going to give you guys this one more example, and then we're going to move on to the other things that I want to talk about. Okay, tells me that and this got brought up. This is the thing. This got brought up with my mom. This all got brought up. These are the things, and I've heard it so many times. He brings the same stuff up, the same one up, again and again and again. There was an incident that happened. This was not that long ago back. Things are like things were already bad between us at this point. Like, I'm already scared. I already don't know how to get things back to resolution and to get things back to normal. I'm at a loss. But, I'm trying to make the effort. So there was a TV show that I'd watched, and I asked him if he wanted to watch it. And he said, yeah, he would like to watch the show with me. And so that particular night, we'd ordered dinner. We got it from 2 different places because me and him wanted something different, and my other boys wanted something else. And so while he was out getting the food for the boys, and we were waiting for our food to get there through DoorDash or whatever, okay, I was searching through Netflix, and I just so happened to find a third season, or at least a side spinoff of the show that we were going to watch. I was pretty excited about it. I was like, wow, I thought it was the end of it, you know? And so I was sitting there and I put it on. And just as I put it on, he comes home. And so I paused it. And I was like, you know, welcome back, you know, like the food's here. Like I'm going to go, I was preparing for myself to get up and go get the kids the plates of food, right? And he says, oh, wow, you already had the TV show paused and ready to go that we were going to watch? And I said, oh, no. I said, actually, I found a third season. And so I was going to watch this one, you know, but you're here now. So it's paused. And he got so disappointed and he shook his head. He said, wow, so you're just thoughtless then. You're just completely thoughtless. Like here, I thought you were being considerate towards me and you weren't. You're just thoughtless. This shook me, okay? Because I'm like, what a second, what? Like I'm thoughtless, like thinking to myself, like it takes 2 seconds to put the other show on. I wasn't like, here I am just existing. I'm just for 30 minutes. So he's not home for 30 minutes. And all I'm doing is just browsing through the TV. And now that's not okay. Now that's not even okay. Because now I'm thoughtless because I wasn't just sitting here with the show we were going to watch on pause for that entire time. So I was a little bit shaken. And we go into the kitchen. Because like I said, I have to get down the plates get the boys' pizza, my younger ones. And I pull down a plate. And I go over to the pizza. And he says to me, aren't you going to get me a plate? I just didn't think about it. I just gotten shook up by being called thoughtless in the other room. I'm not, like, I've never had to, like, when's the last time I've been in a relationship where I had to wait on a man? I haven't. In fact, that was the reason why I really wanted to make sure, even getting into this situationship, I prefaced it with making sure it was an open relationship. I was like, I'm not ready to be committed and tied down to someone. Like I've been on again, off again in long-term relationships since I started having kids. And I just wanted a break. I just wanted to get to know who I am. I just wanted companionship and friendship. If that turned into something more romantic and eventually committed, that would be great. But that's not what I was looking for. Okay. So I was just kind of blown away. They got really upset at me. They basically picked a fight that lasted for hours over this plate, to the point where like I had to reach out to a friend of mine to just be like, am I crazy? Like, am I crazy? Like all I did was have a show on pause and get down a plate for my children, but I'm thoughtless and inconsiderate. I'm just like, wow, okay. So was that? Maybe it was to a certain degree. I don't know. I don't think it deserves that, though. I don't think it warranted that type of a response. All right, so this is what I am dealing with, guys. What's my value, right? What's my worth? Okay, so basically, what happens when you've had this PTSD, CPTSD, okay, is that even after you break off the relationship in that way, even when you pull back and you're like, I want peace now, like, how do you get out of this depression of only being able to think about that? Like, I had to figure that out. Like, what is going on here that now, because it didn't always used to be like this. This has been a slow descent into this mental state. Okay. Like, there have been plenty of times last year where I was able to, I had a fantasy world that I could just go and just click off. I'm off of my fantasy world and I'm happy, and it's great. And I love it. And I love my life here. And that was what would refill my cup, was that I would go to this place and I would feel better. I'd feel loved. But, the more and more you go through this, the more something else started happening. And that's when I realized, and this video that I watched explained it perfectly. Okay. It's that being happy and joyful triggers a narcissist. If this person is a true narcissist, or just you want to label a toxic person, that's fine. But I think it makes a difference. I think the narcissist is the one that gets triggered by seeing this thing, because it's something that they don't have. And he's flat out expressed that to me before. Like when I have been happy or excited about a certain thing, and you could just see it behind their, like they're saying, like, okay, like if I were to do about the him saying that I had a good stream last week, like, nice stream. You know, where someone's just saying something, they have their teeth closed, and there's like, you just feel that anger behind it. Nice, yeah. You know, so this is what happens when you're being happy and you're joyful and you're exuding this happiness. Okay, that's a reminder to the narcissist that they don't have that thing. That the thing that you have, the feelings that you're having, is something that they don't have and they want it. Okay, so they either start to attack you or put you down, or something else horrible will happen. Okay, and this was true in my case. This is true in my case. This is what I have experienced. Okay, more consistently than not. And so now your brain starts to associate these good states of being, this joy, this happiness, as being associated with something horrible is going to happen. You're in danger. Stop. Okay. And in this particular case, when that happens and that starts to set in to the subconscious, okay, a narcissist actually kind of rewards you for this, because once you're not happy, now they are. And I've seen this so many times at this point. It's just so upsetting. Okay, this consistent, coercive, psychologically abusive behaviors, and paired with the association, okay, of whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment. Okay, now your body feels safer in the states of depression and hopelessness than it does in the states of happiness and joy. So now your brain has been reprogrammed. So even if you're telling yourself, okay, I don't want to feel this way. I have all these things to be grateful for. Let me think about the things I have to be grateful for. It doesn't matter what you're saying. What you're feeling is going to trump that. What you're feeling is going to have more weight than that. So how do we break those neural pathways that are keeping us locked in? Now we're not even safe to be happy or to feel joy, because that could lead to a possible attack. Okay, well, the suggestion that this video gave, and that actually I had another friend of mine suggest too, that I know is probably going to be the biggest key, is somatic movement, somatic experiences. Getting up and getting your body, like, let's say in the morning, you're used, like reminding yourself of how you used to be. Like I could sit there and like, wow, I remember when I used to be able to do this. I remember how happy I felt when I used to do that. Like, and the more you remind yourself of, wow, I used to be like that. Now I'm not. Now I'm in this state. Okay. The more you get locked into it. Okay. So it's less about what you're thinking about it. It's less about thinking your way out of it, and more about, I think, moving your way out of it, experiencing, getting your body to feel good, and helping it remake those connections of, it's okay. You're safe to feel happiness again. You're safe to feel joy. All right. So I'm going to keep working on it. That's just one of the newest things that I uncovered. Okay. But here is, just so you guys, I'll just read these off real quick, and then we'll go on to the tarot readings. Okay. So the 8 things that authoritarian narcs don't get about you. Okay. Number 1 was that I'm not some flunky who needs to be told what to think. Okay, like I don't need to be told, like, do this, do that. Like I'm telling you, it's like how a parent would do to a child. And if you remember from my stream last week, because that's what the true relationship that you enter into with a narcissist really is. It's a shared fantasy where they are above you and you're below them, and they are the parent and you're the child, or they vice versa. They want that to be the opposite flip. They want you to love them the way, unconditionally, the way a mother would love a child, so they can just behave in any ways that they want to behave, and you're supposed to just continue loving them and treating well, and like wanting to do things for them, like bend over, but like just even getting a plate, like. So yeah. So the number 2 is I'm not your competition and you don't need to defeat me. I've had this conversation with him before too, about equals, about wanting, like, we're equals. Human beings are all equal, right? Like, we deserve respect, dignity, civility, honor, truth, all these things. But he's flat out said to me that people are not equal before. He looks at it as people have strengths and they have weaknesses. And the things that he's stronger at, well, then he's better than you at it. Okay, he's flat. This is his type of thinking. Okay, so number 3 that they don't get. Okay. What they don't get is when you chronically disrespect and when you throw chronic disrespect and insults at me, it decreases your influence over me. Okay, so if you're putting me down all the time, if you're telling me, you're complaining, okay, here I am, I struggled to learn how to make dinners for my children, okay? Like my responsibility always in the past, my past relationships was I make breakfast, lunch, and snacks, and then the partner I was with would make dinner. Okay, so learning to make dinner is a new thing for me, okay? It's not going to help me want to be better at that and to do better at that if someone's just putting me down and telling me that what shit my dinners are, basically. How I'm not a good parent because of what I make for dinners. It's like, do you understand that there was a point in my life where I couldn't even be responsible to feed my kids any meals because of my drug addiction? How far I have come. It's so absurd to have someone putting me down about this type of thing in these ways when it's like I'm doing good. I'm doing good for how far I've come. So I don't need, I'm not going to go along with someone. It's not going to you're not going to have more influence over a person if they're chronically disrespecting you and insulting you. Number 4, being threatening and punitive doesn't teach me any lesson other than you're toxic. Okay, so when you're throwing your threats at me, okay, about, oh, your son doesn't have a job by this date, he's going to be homeless. That is just showing me you're toxic. Here's another one. Actually, it just came to my mind. Here's another one, a threat. Okay. We were talking. This was recently, and he was basically asking me again, can't we go back to just being regular talkative wise and stuff like that? And I was just telling him, I don't think we can, because I feel like I can't trust you and I need space, because everything you say is everything you say is an attack against me. And I just want peace. I just don't want to be hurt. If you can't be trusted not to say hurtful things, then the only thing I can think of is to just not be talking. And so he's like, fine. And then the next thing he says to me is, I was thinking about turning the internet off. And then he pauses, because this was his way of, he wanted to get that emotional reaction out of me. He pauses. I was thinking about turning the internet off, which is, he knows that I need for my son's schooling. That's the other thing. I offered when we were moving in here and he's stressing out about money somewhat. And I would offer, well, why don't I'll just go start door dashing again. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't want you to be stressed out. I never would want someone to be stressed out and for me to feel like a burden on someone if it was causing them too much hassle. And he would reassure me, no. He'd show me the bank account. He'd show me how much he gets, show me how much the bills were. And I could see clearly that there was plenty. There was plenty enough. Okay. And so he told me, no, I don't want you to have to work. I believe in stay-at-home moms, the value of stay-at-home moms. And I want you to be able to stay at home and homeschool your children. And so I did. I signed up for that. But, was that a bit of a trap? I think it was. Because he wanted me dependent on him in that way. And there's other things that I'm not even going to get. There's other examples that proved that to me and showed that to me. So he threatens to turn off the internet. Then he says, well, I was thinking about turning the internet off because your son David already pays for it. So I figured he should put that in his name. Which, fine, whatever. You want us to put it in his name? Fine. But don't act like you're doing this for any other reason other than to have stirred my emotions, gotten me shook up. Okay. So that way, and then pulled back some to try and act like I'm crazy for getting stirred up and shook up. Okay. He tried to tell me the reason is that he wanted to teach my oldest son responsibility. This is why it was so insulting, because my 24-year-old son is the most responsible of all my children. He literally is self-employed. Like, he's so responsible that he can be self-employed and he can stick to it and he can bring in the money, you know, and he pays me rent, which ends up going towards the groceries. Okay. Because when we first moved in here, I did not know how much groceries were going to be. I did not realize how much they had gone up. And because my ex was the one that was paying for those, because before we'd had food stamps, and he helped chip in the rest of it when we didn't. So my son David, most responsible one. Like, I'm just like, wow, okay then. So that's fine. Like, I don't even want that. I'm just like, I don't want to fight. But I can see that he's trying to get the emotional reactions out of me, but I just don't want to be able to give it. I don't even want to put myself in a position to be able to do that. Okay. This is the other things that the video said, which I'm just going to go over real quickly. It said, this is what they want. This is what he would say to the narcissist, basically. Like, your lust for power makes you look like a cartoon character. How can I take someone seriously when all they want to do is find out what's wrong? Because that's really what it comes down to, is this power control that they want. Number 6, I see through your lies and how you distort the truth. Okay, so because they're definitely experts at distorting the truth a little bit. And my mom got a really good example of that when she came here to try and bring peace between us. Number 7, this is what narcissists just don't get about you, about people like us. Genuine kindness and respect works for me. Let me repeat that. Genuine kindness and respect works for me. That is helpful. That is healing. You know, people who are pretending to be something they're not, that is repulsive to me. And then lastly, they said, I find it amusing how threatened you are by my free choices. Okay, they want to have the privilege to choose, but they have double standards. Okay, and because the narcissist is a hopeless pretender, because you have no regard for me, why would I why would I set aside my own good thinking for someone else who is clearly putting all these terrible judgments and distortions upon me? Like that is something that I have to learn to get over and not let trigger me and not let get to me, because we all do have insecurities. And like I told you guys before, I opened up and I was so vulnerable to this person, and I gave them all the ammunition that they needed to know exactly how to get to me, my insecurities. And so now I'm having to exercise that muscle and become and to overcome it, and because that is the other thing I noticed that I was not happy about with myself, is that as I was sitting there thinking last week, okay, and this was before all of the weekend drama, I was honestly thinking, I felt something. I felt a fear inside me. And so I decided to look at it. Just trying to make sure I covered everything. So I decided to look at it. And I noticed that it was just the tip of an iceberg. It was literally the tip of a fear iceberg. Okay. And like behind it, all I could see, all of these fears. I was like, oh my God. No. I thought I'd come so far. When it came to my fears. And now I see, though, at least this has been a great revealer. It's been definitely a revelation for me of where it is that I have to work, where it is I need to put my time and effort into, because I have to find a way to get out of this. Like I mentioned earlier, like, this is hurting my kids. This is game playing at its finest. And and what this ball brought up, talking about them pushing themselves, this narcissist person pushing themselves into the one last safe space that I had, when I flat out just asked them, like, you knew that would hurt me? Yes. Okay, why? Like, why did you do it? And they said, because they had every right to, because they knew the person that I was talking to, or that was running this meeting. They knew this person before I ever did. That's what they told me. That was the reason why. I was just like, wow. And I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to fight with them about it. I'm just like, whatever. I just thought to myself, I won't put myself through that again. You know, if he wants to bust into those spaces because he wants to make a point and prove that he can be wherever it is that I am, and if it's going to have that kind of a physical experience on my body, like, I think I did more harm to myself than good by staying in that meeting that day. I feel like I did more harm to myself than good when it came to it. So I'm not playing those games. I'm not playing them. I'll bow out if I have to. Like, done. So that is what I've learned this week. This has been what I've learned this week, guys, about narcissism. Again, not trying to diagnose someone without proper authority to do so. Okay, so please just take it with a grain of salt what I am presenting. Okay, like, I definitely am dealing with a toxic person who has strong narcissistic personality traits, but they've not ever been to a therapist. So can I say for sure that they are someone who suffers from NPD? No, I cannot say that, but I can say that based on all the research that I am obsessed with doing right now, because of the fact that I'm living through it, I can say that the videos, they follow the scripts, and they literally, there's a reason why we're able to even define these things. There's a reason why. And it's because there are generalized things that all of these people have in common. There's general ways that they act in common. And that's why I think it's so hard for people to understand what it is that I'm going through here with him to a certain degree, because of the fact that we're used to dealing with people who are like us. It sounds impossible. Like, obviously this person must have some kind of intention. If you just can understand what their intention is. I mean, this person just needs healing, right? You could just understand what his intention is, then maybe you'll be able to figure out how to communicate in a way where you both get heard and understood. That's not dealing with a normal person. I'm not dealing with someone who is normal in these ways. This is above my pay grade. This is above my pay grade to heal or to help heal, because honestly, we're the ones that do the healing on ourselves. Even when we go to healers, okay, it's not the healers that are doing the healing. It's them opening up that space and offering us that opportunity to heal ourselves. Okay, well, it's above my pay grade on that one. So I wash my hands of that. But I will keep going. I will keep trucking on. Okay, so let me get a drink of water now that I just went through all that. That was quite a bit. I didn't actually expect to go on that long about that stuff. But, you know, it's been brewing. And I knew I needed to get it all out. I just want other people to please watch out, especially if you have children involved. Like, who you're letting in. Okay. Everyone take a deep breath with me. I don't even know how many people are still even here. I hope you guys are. I know I see some of the comments going on, but I was really in the flow of it, so I couldn't really I'll just take a little. Yes, death by 1,000 cuts. You're absolutely right, Queen Victor. That is absolutely true. And I understand that because you feel it. You feel it energetically. Like, okay. And that was the other thing that I really was happy to find today. Sorry, lips are dry. The other thing I was happy to find today was someone talking about the fact that energetically you can feel that negativity. Ah, yes. Okay, I do have one more thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So I did another experiment once to try and prove to try and see if what I was feeling, this energy around this person, if it was as nasty, I guess, as you could, like, that's the feeling I was getting. It looked like black smoke. Like, imagine like black smoke just oozing out of someone. Okay, just like dust, dirt. Okay, and so this was during one of those moments where I was actually in one of those meetings, one of my friends' group's meetings, and it was a Saturday or whatnot. And I think it might have been a Sunday, it might have been a class at that point. And so this other person that I'm talking about that I live with here, the situationship, they were next to me. And now I'll have my computer on and I'll have the class on, all right, and or the meeting, whatever it is that particular weekend, because that's what I do on weekends. My weekends are for class times and meetings and moderating and stuff like that. And I enjoy my weekends like that. I love it. When I don't have those, I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm gonna just walk around like, oh, like, can we do some scalar toning? Oh, I don't know, it doesn't matter. So that's how I feel like. I feel like, well, I should be doing something like this. And so I had my computer sitting there and it was playing out loud, and this person was ignoring it, and they were laying on their side, like faced away from it. And I could just feel the funky energy that I always can feel coming off of them. And that's why it's so hard, because I'm telling myself, I gotta be crazy. Like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this energy? Because I'm not trusting myself. Okay, so I'm like, okay. So I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. We're getting ready to go into the meditation portion of it. So I visualize in my mind. Okay, I'm like, I'm going to create a golden shield. All right, and so I start putting this golden shield up around me. All right, and I'm like, I'm not going to let this person's energy into this space at this point, because I want to have a really good experience here with this meditation clearing. And so I'm pushing, and I'm seeing it in my head. I'm seeing it in my mind's eye. All right, and I can feel it buffer up against the person. Okay, and then I could see, all right, a little hole had like sprung open in my shield, and this black hand came out, and it went like that. Okay, this black hand, and then again another black hand came in from behind and did that, and then another one came right into my space, right up into my space. And I'm like, what the hell, So as I'm doing this meditation, I'm like, okay, so I push the hands back. Now I see them. I'm pushing the hands back, and I'm sealing up the hole. Okay, and so now I'm like really being firm. I'm having my own golden hands, and I'm pushing all along this golden shield, that I'm making sure, like, I do not want this anything negative in my space right now. And this person started to get very uncomfortable, and so they got up and they left the room, which was funny, because I actually was trying to expand my shield bigger and bigger and bigger, so they couldn't handle being in that space, and they got up and they walked out. Well, after the meditation or whatever ended, I stood up, and this person, they came in the house, and I don't remember what we said back and forth, but basically they just started doing this. They went into my space, like right super close to me, like they purposely started doing that. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, he didn't know. This person didn't know that I just had done this golden bubble thing and saw these black hands coming at me, and they were coming at me the same exact way that he pushed them towards me. Okay? I'm like, oh, shit. Shit. Like, I got myself into some mess here, guys. Oh. Okay, sorry. That's like my cry for help right there. Oh. Yes, it's what it feels like, Queen Victor. It's exactly what it feels like. That's what it looked like in my mind's eye, too, when I saw this black smoke just oozing out of them. So, yeah. This is what I'm dealing with. I'm just trying to do my best to protect my energy, to pull myself up out of this. Okay, to just have peace. Like, even just let me heal. Like, just I want peace. I just want to get along. I always just asked for friendship. That's what I asked for. I begged for it. I said, that's all I ever wanted. I just wanted someone, a best friend, a companion, someone who I could tell all of everything to and not be judged for it, and they could do the same back. Like, I just wanted something reciprocal like that, and I got duped. Okay, and all these things that this person told me about who they were, not that all of like the facts, okay, I mean, like 3D stuff didn't really change, but who they said they were, what they stood for, they lied to me. I got lied to. And so it was very traumatic, guys. It was very, very stressful week. It's definitely been pushing me to my breaking point to get stronger. And hopefully this week I don't see something scary in my tarot reading, so that way I don't feel like I need to hold back. But we are going to switch up. Yes, shields up. Yes. We are going to switch up into the reading portion now that I got through all of that stuff. And I really appreciate you guys sitting here and hanging out with me through all this. I know it's not fun topics. You know, it doesn't exactly inspire feeling the best. Okay? Like, it's definitely harder stuff to go over. And, like, I'm not, okay, I also want to just quickly add to that. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm well aware of the fact that doing a smear campaign, okay, is what someone outside of living this could look in and say, like, oh, are you basically just doing a smear campaign on him? You know, because that's what narcissists do, is that they'll tell a bunch of people all these bad things about you and try to get them to change their opinions about you. Like I'm not trying to do that. Like, a few people in the chat know who exactly it is specifically that I'm talking about, but I'm not trying to put this person out on blast by name or anything like that. Like, I just want to be able to share my experience to help other survivors, because that's what I am. Have I been a victim of narcissistic abuse? Yes, I believe I have, but I'm a survivor and I'm going to survive. You know? Oh, hello there. Josh? Yes. Oh, yes, I recognize who you are from Facebook. You have a smear campaign on you right now. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Really sorry to hear that. I don't advocate. I'm not trying to be a smear campaigner. I'm honestly just trying to get my story out, because what else can I do? Like, I don't feel like it's fair that I have to just keep my mouth shut when I'm going through the trauma and the turmoil that I'm going through, and unjustly so. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the narcissist. You'll have to rewind and watch the rest of the whole spiel. Okay, like, I'm so desperately wanting to grab my vape right now because of how stressed out I've been, you know. But and I am actually. I'm sorry, guys. You're gonna have to see me vape. Oh, I feel better. Okay. All right, guys. Let's just go ahead and I just want to feel like I need to grab my, like, Palo Santo or something and just, like, cleanse the atmosphere for a second. Don't worry. If I were to leave the screen, it's not for too long, I promise. So let's get this let's switch topics. I'm ready to switch topics. This is never ending. Wait. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going through this stuff and keep watching these videos, and I'll bring you guys more tips and tricks. More tips and, you know, things that you may be going through, information that you might need to know if you're going through it, because I mean, this is the world we live in, right? Maybe we'll get into what creates narcissists, or what creates toxic, abusive patterns in people when it comes to their childhood wounds. Maybe that's something we do. Like, definitely leave me some comments or suggestions of tips or things that you want me to get into when it comes to this topic. I'm more than willing to put the work in. You know? More than willing to put the work in. Mm-hmm. Okay, just clearing off the cards. Yeah. Need a blessing from my family to be together again. Okay. Definitely sending you some prayers right now then. Okay. There we go. Prayer sent. Okay. But I'm afraid to put this down now. Like, I have something I can put this down on where it won't burn. Yes. All right, so if you've stuck out with me this long, thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. Definitely not one of my most joyful streams, but good to get out nonetheless. It's my last safe space. I'm just here with you guys. Oh, hello, Cricket. Hello. Nice to see you. All right, so let's do our collective. Let's do our collective card pull. Okay. The one that creator of light, I ask that you please assist me doing this reading. I ask that you please let it be made known what we need to be made aware of for the collective today and the energies for the next week. Okay. Beautiful. Perfect. Yes. I'm feeling it. I'm coming back in to the body here now. Spirit-wise, anyway. One more shuffle? Yes, one more shuffle. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. What is it that we need to be made aware of? What is it that we need to know? Message for the collective. Message for the collective. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, just getting myself hooked up. Okay. There we go. Okay, just had to do a little stretching. A little weird stretches, guys. Okay. Yeah. Tell us a message for the collective. What is it that we need to know? Oh. Oh. We got the Two of Swords. Okay. So this is a crossroads. This is definitely feeling like you're stuck between two decisions, between two things. Like you maybe don't know what to do, don't know what to talk about, don't know what to communicate. Don't know what's being communicated to you properly, like because you can't see properly. You can't. The blindfold is on. Okay. So it's like maybe not all the facts or the information. Like you're just not able to see everything yet. Just not able to see all of it yet, and so it's hard to. You're basically stuck in limbo between what choices do I make because you don't really have all the information yet. But we're going to look more into that and see what other cards they give us for this. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. It's like it could be feeling stuck. I mean, it looks like she's feeling stuck. For sure, she's behind this other sword-looking thing. Like it looks almost like a tombstones or something like that. But kind of sick. Or a taboo there. So yeah, this is indecision. This is a moment possibly of indecision and maybe needing to wait around for some more things that need to be communicated, or to be able to the other thing that you could look at this as is that one of these swords could be used to take that blindfold off if she just was able to use that to peel it off. So a new way of thinking, because that's what these swords are, right? They're thinking, they're communicating. Okay, they're how you communicate things, body language, things like that. So if there's just one thing that she could figure out how to get that off, then she could have all that information that she needs in order to make that decision. But let's see what else they have to say. Let's see what else the cards have to say. Okay. What else do we need to know about this? Message for the collective. Tell us more. Okay. The Magician. We got the Magician. All right. This is a really good card to get. This is a really positive card, in my opinion. Okay. Like you have your tools. Like you have your tools in front of you, and you just need to be able to pick them up and use them, which kind of flows into the whole idea of her needing to use that sword in order to free herself from that blindfold. Well, in this particular case, okay, the Magician, all right, he is a major arcana card, so this is big energy. Okay, the minor arcana card, they usually, I feel like it's like just like think of just in terms of weight. Okay, you know, like this one, it's not packing as much of a punch, so this is more of like a transitory type of energy, where this one is something that is, this is sticking. Okay, this is a big energy, this Magician card. It is basically letting us know that, you know, like when you head down that path, okay, that spiritual path of self-realization, self-actualization, okay, like when you start off as the Fool, all right, and you're going and you're doing this work, and you just feel like, oh my God, am I even getting anywhere? Like, have I gotten anywhere? Like, just feels like maybe am I doing this all for naught? Well, this card, this Magician card, is saying that no, you are not doing this for naught. This is real change happening here. This is that moment when you look in the mirror and you realize, wow, I've really done the work, and it really shows. Okay, and it really stands out to other people too. Like, you have done the work, and you are further along in your path of self-realization here, and you can make things happen like magic. You know, like the Magician card. What does the Magician do? He does magic. He creates magic in the world. I mean, we all are magicians, truly, if we were just able to unlock our abilities and believe in ourselves, because belief is one of the biggest keys. It's one of the keys, is believing in yourself, that you can do these magical things. I mean, that is literally how I've seen so many crazy things. I know it. I know it's because my joy and my happiness vibrated me at such a high frequency, in such a high state, that I was able to truly believe that through God's help, that my wishes could affect, that God would make decisions on those wishes, and be able to let me see those things happen right in front of my eyes. And it was like magic. Okay, so maybe you're feeling a little stuck. Maybe you're feeling like you can't even see your full self. Okay, but you have been making changes. The changes are real. Like, the work you've done is sustainable. Okay, let's see. Tell us the last part of the message, guys. Last part of the message for the collective. What else do we need to know about this? Okay. The Four of Rods, or the Four of Wands. Okay. So the Four of Wands. Okay, well, this has to do with the home. This has to do with activities in the home. Things that require you to be in the home. Things that you're really good at doing in the home. It could require active participation from another person even. But either way, it's just saying that, for me, what I believe it's saying is that it's getting better. That some practice that has been implemented in the home, considering we got the Magician here, that it's actually getting refined. And for me, that home looks, like off in the background there, that home looks pretty, I mean, it's decorated up. We got this little, I don't, it would be like a little gazebo or something outside the home or whatever. Okay. Trying to think of anything else that I can pull out of that. It's like where everything has its place. Everything has its place inside of this home, and whatever life it is, whatever thing it is, like maybe you work through the home. Like, that's another thing. Like, maybe you work from home. Okay, well, you're getting better at it. You're getting better at it. So maybe this feeling stuck, okay, and like maybe you've not been getting anywhere about something. Or you feel like there's some decision that you need to make, okay, or like you don't know everything about something that you just feel blinded on. Well, the truth of the matter is that you have been making real change, and you have made it you've made it to a certain level in your spiritual development, and now you're able to make that a practice in your home, and that practice is getting better and better and better. And it means keep practicing whatever it is that you're doing in your home. Okay, keep doing it, because you are getting somewhere. And maybe you just need a little bit of time. Maybe that's what this practicing and you acknowledging this about yourself, okay, maybe that it's just time. Maybe it is just time that needs to happen in order for that blindfold to become off. Okay, so I would say my best suggestion when I look at these cards is to say, keep doing what you're doing in the home. Keep going on your spiritual path. Like, you may not have all the information that you need right now in order to make the next choice, but you don't need it at this moment. You need to just keep doing what you're doing because you're getting somewhere. Okay. So that is the reading I have for that one. Sandra. I don't know if I said hi to you yet. Sorry, Sandra. Love you. Okay. So that one was a good one. Oh, Cricket. You're beautiful. Love you. Okay. So that was a good one, I felt like, for this. And again, I'll try to be as brave as I can and not hold back like I did last week when it comes to the Adventure Time tarot cards. Because I definitely felt like there was more going on there, and I was just too afraid to say it. Yeah. All right, so let's do our second one. And anyone who's coming in late, I'm just going to let you know again that our fortune cookie that we got for today was never judge a work of art by its defects. Like that. Okay. Gives its character. And then I brought up the Queen of Wands, and that particular fortune cookie reminds me of the Queen of Rods or Wands, and the fact that, you know, she can be very flamboyant and entertaining and sparkly and pretty, and, you know, very active, very actorish, so to speak. You know, but there's always maybe there's that one little insecurity that she hides, that she feels like if anyone saw this, they would not like me. Oh, they would, no, it would be bad. Oh, you know, but really that's like a thing that makes her unique and lovable, is that thing. So not to hide it. So that's what that fortune cookie told me. So now let's get into the Adventure Time. Oh, you know how much I want to start singing the song, guys, but I won't. I'm not going to do it again. I won't. You guys can sing it to yourself. All right, so. And the one. Yes. Please. There. No. Okay, just a few more little shuffles, guys. Because of this thick deck. Okay. Yep. Oh, I do love these cards so much. I can feel the love in these cards right now. Wow. That's funny. I can feel it. That's really cool. Okay. Love these cards. Mm-hmm. Okay, please let it be made aware. Please let us be made aware of what we need to know. Please, please, please. Okay, so last shuffle. Don't fall out on me. Okay, there we go. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me this long, guys. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate you guys all being here and sticking it out this long. Has been quite a long one today, hasn't it? And don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. I watch all these channels so much, and they're so good about it every single time. The thumbs up and hit the notification bell if you want to hear more from us. Yeah, it's been over an hour at this point, hasn't it? Okay. Wait, has it been 2 hours? Oh, snap. Oh, wow. Oh. Okay. All right. I'll stop freaking out now. Okay. Okay. Here we go, guys. Here we go. We're doing the last spread. You've made it this far. We're doing the last ones. What is it that we need to know? Tell us what the collective needs to know through these cards. Boom. Isn't that funny? We got the Two of Wands this time. We had the Two of Swords for the last one. Now we got the Two of Wands. Okay. Again, this is like in a limbo card, like for instance, okay, so Prismo, this particular character, he lives inside a single room. He never leaves this time room. It's a special room that he lives in. Okay, he's a wish granter. Okay, he is known as the great and almighty Prismo, the wish granter, and killing him is actually a cosmic crime that happens in the show at one point, and they have to bring him back or whatever. So in this particular case, he's holding up his pickles, okay, because he makes pickles, and that's part of what links him and Jake together, is that Jake really likes the pickles that Prismo makes, okay? And actually, it's their link to coming back to visit him, is this jar of pickles that they gave him. So what can we pull out of that story? Because I like to go ahead and go into the character before I go into what it could be saying to us. Okay, so this is saying, like, you have a choice. You have a choice between two actions. Okay, which action are you going to choose? All right, like which pickle you're going to take? Which pickle in this particular case? Okay, with the influences of the energies of this particular character, I would say, when you're wishing for something, even a thing that that Prismo really drove home was that when you're making wishes, you need to be very specific about your wishes, because there's always a monkey's paw kind of catch to these wishes. All right, where like, let's say he gave an example one time. It was like, let's say you wish for a back rub. Okay, who's going to give you that back rub? Is it going to be some extremely, sweaty, hairy person, or is it going to be, a professional massage therapist or something like that? Like, who's going to be the one to do that? Like, you have to be specific when it comes to making wishes. Even when it comes to manifesting, it's actually one of the things that I suggest to people: be specific. Okay, so what is it that you're trying to make a decision on, where you need to be specific about what it is that you want, because you have these two choices, these two actions you could take. Let's keep going. What else do they want us to know? Okay, sorry. Sometimes it just flows through like that, and I just have to bring it back. Okay, there we go. What else do you want to tell us, guys? What else do you want to tell us? Tell us more about this Two of Wands for the collective. What else do you want us to know? Ooh, death. We got death. Don't get scared. Oh, yes. Death in Adventure Time actually is not a scary or bad character at all. Death is actually responsible to make sure that every soul gets to its right place. Okay? So this is about putting everything back in its right place, I feel like. This is about, yes, it's about an ending. Yes, something needs to be put back in the spot, in the right direction. It needs to be put back and gone into the right direction where it belongs. Okay, like, this is about transformation. This is about a big ending. Okay, but endings have to happen in order for new things to blossom and bloom. All right, so it's like, which action are you going to take? Because it's now required. You need to figure out which action that is in order to create this transformation, in order to let go of something that's old and does not belong in the life, in your life in that way. Or maybe you don't belong in going in a certain direction. You know what I'm saying? You're being led astray or something like that. It's time to bring you back into where you're supposed to be going. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I can see from this particular one. That's the thing about the death card, though. He definitely he knows where things should go. He knows, and he's less about, like, he's not about bringing pain to people. He's just about following natural law. Following the natural laws. That is what the character Death in Adventure Time is about. He just wants natural law to be followed. And in fact, one of the episodes, one of the very, very newer episodes that it was on HBO Max, they actually have a stop happens to that, where Death actually dies, and you get to see the chaotic results of what happens when things lose their order in such a way. So let's keep going though. So we got the Two of Wands, we got Death. Let's see what else we got. Adventure time. What's the last part of the message that you guys want us to know? This card showing up again. Five of Coins. Okay. We've already heard the story of these two people so many times now at this point. Okay, this person Tiffany was led astray by someone who was offering to give them a place, offering to give them a mission, so to speak, in life. And it ended up turning out not so good. Okay, like last week, I believe that this was the card that I said feeling rejected or even displaced. Okay, like for me personally, I absolutely feel this card. I absolutely feel this. I absolutely feel like there's a big death that has happened, and I feel rejected. I feel displaced. I feel like I don't even have, like, this home is it's not even really my home. I'm living here, but it's not my home. I don't even have my own bedroom. Like, I felt so sad about it and grieved it this past weekend, like, that I have to find a way to make a space for myself, like even just one space. But so yeah, ultimately, between these two decisions, okay, a major ending is happening that could maybe make you feel displaced and left out and possibly rejected. Okay, it could involve losing something physically. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I can pull from it, because I've already gone into this Five of Coins with everyone a couple times now at this point. This guy, they love to throw this card back up, and I feel like because of the storyline of is so pertinent right now, of the fact of the person just really wanting a place for themselves, just really wanting to belong. You know. Definitely felt that way before. Definitely have felt that way. I hope that makes sense to some of y'all out there. I know it kind of does make sense for me. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that this reading itself even didn't come across. It seems like my Adventure Time cards always hit it at a soft spot for me, to where I'm like, oh shit, like, which way is this gonna go? You know, like, oh god, all I can do is just be me. All I can do is just be myself. So thank you, Brayden. I'm glad that it makes sense for you. I look forward to chatting with you actually after this and seeing what you think about it, because he always has some really great insights on tarot. Brayden's quite the tarot reader himself too. Okay. Yeah. A lot of crap needs to be transmuted, Greg says. I agree. I agree. It's time to get better than this. Anything's got to, it's got to get better. It's just got to. No, because ultimately I think that the thing that I've been trying to do is, if it is everything I've been saying that it is, and if it is narcissistic supply, okay, that this person feeds off of me, because that's literally what it feels like. I don't know how else to describe that to you guys. Like it puzzled me. It baffled me for the longest time, that being around this person, I literally felt like someone just had like a straw and was just sucking the life force off of me and just like draining me. And I'm like, why do I feel this way? It's such an odd sensation, but that is literally how I felt. And so if my emotional reactivity was narcissistic supply, if what I'm dealing with is the truth, like what I'm representing, if that is truly it, then cutting off the narcissistic supply of the emotional reactivity, that should lead to something different. That is something I have not done before. I did not ever break it off. I could not. Okay, part of me too. Like, I want to be seen. I wanted to be heard. I wanted to believe there's something that I could say or do that would bring about the understanding necessary to make me to make us reach some kind of resolution to where we could just have peace. But if this person truly doesn't want peace, there was nothing I'm ever going to be able to say or do that was going to create that or bring that around. So, but if I'm wrong, okay, here's the Two of Wands. If I'm wrong, here's the Two of Swords. If I'm wrong, if I'm mislabeling it, and this person truly can be peaceful and wants to get along with me, well, I would think at this point that would start to happen. If it's just toxicity, okay, and it's not narcissistic abuse, which, like I said, the difference between those two things, okay, is that just an emotionally toxic person doesn't change from who they were when you first met them, really. Like, they have new things that come out about them, but ultimately that good, kind-hearted person that, you know, treated you a certain way at the beginning of when you first met them, that person doesn't change. But if it's a narcissist, it's narcissistic abuse, then you'll see that mask start to drop off. You see they won't be able to maintain that mask, okay? And then everything will flip once they stopped idealizing you and they put you into that devaluation phase and discard phase. So that's basically the experiment you guys are watching me go through at this point, okay? We're about to find out. But either way, I am finding a way to have peace. Either way, because these children deserve to have peace, and even he does. He deserves to have peace too. I want him to have the things he wants. I want him to be happy in his life. I always knew that the thing he wanted was not going to be with me. And I've always prayed and still do pray and hope that he gets the thing that he wants one day. I want him to have that. Okay? Like, I want people to be happy. I can forgive for the things that I've gone through, the pain. I can forgive that and I can let go because I know that I have so much to look forward to in the future. I have real friends. You know, I have my children. You know, like the love and the connections that I have with all these people, they don't disappear if I don't have a home. You know, like those things won't just, who I am inside isn't dependent upon whatever physical possession I have or don't have. So I love you guys. If anyone wants a reading with me, please reach out to me by emailing auroradiamondheart@gmail.com. And I'm just going to apologize right now ahead of time. I had a really freaking stressful week, guys, and I have not checked my messages. I have not checked my emails over the last week. I did not check them. So if you have written me, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not usually like this, but I had a particularly stressful week last week. And I will absolutely check those tomorrow. I'm going to check them. So, yes. I really love you guys. Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate that kind message. I love you, Queen Victor. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Okay. And I think that might be it. If there's anything else anyone has to say, thank you, Cricket. Thank you. I appreciate you guys being here, and I appreciate, just keep me in your prayers. You know, just keep me in your prayers. I really truly want peace here. I really truly, it would be a delight for me to come onto one of these streams and be like, guess what? You know, I was wrong, and this person actually made the change, and they're doing the things, and we're getting along. Like, I would give anything for that. But even if it's just, guess what? We actually are just creating our peace, and we're giving each other our space, and we're getting a lot, like, any one of those things would do. Just manifest it. Help me manifest this, guys. Like, peace and cooperation, because I'm not going anywhere. That's the thing. He knows I have nowhere to go. I know I have nowhere to go. Like, I have to find my way out of this. But, yeah. Okay. Love ya. Habitat for Humanity can build homes for moms. Oh, really? Tiny homes are amazing. That might be something to look into. Love you, Emily. I see you there. Thanks for being here. Thank you, I just want to thank you all for being here. Yeah. Yes, I'll definitely will have to look into that. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that, Cricket. It's heartbreaking. Well, definitely, if there's any other suggestions that anyone has about it, please, Cricket, please just like leave it in the comments, because I don't know if you can message me on Facebook or anything. But I'm definitely would love to hear some options, because I've been racking my brain and I've not been able to come up with one. Because, you know, we used to have government assisted housing here. You could get on a wait list and it would take like 2 or 3 years, but you'd eventually be able to get a government afforded housing. And now they don't even have that available here in my area anymore. It's completely shut down. So yeah, definitely please drop any information you have in the comments and I will check it out. Oh, another one Emily's throwing out there. Thank you, Emily. Yes. Yes. That would really be best if someone could help me figure out a way. I guess that's another reason why I'm out here talking about it, huh? Yes. Thank you guys. All right. It's been one of the longest streams that I've done in a while. So yeah, Section 8 housing is non-entity these days. Exactly, Sandra. Exactly. But y'all can see, like, this is the struggle. This is what I want. I don't want to hurt another person. I don't want to make another person's life miserable. And clearly, me just being happy in front of someone else makes them not happy. So oh, no problem. No problem. Thank you guys. I will stay strong. And that's actually one more thing I want to mention. Out of all of the streams that I have done, when I went to the Journey to Truth conference, do you know that I only had one person mention to me specifically a stream that they really enjoyed and that really they found helpful? And that was a compliment from Daryl James. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's in the, he was one of the speakers. Okay, he's been a speaker there twice, I'm pretty sure. And he told me that my video on narcissism was what really helped him, which was really funny because I was feeling really self-conscious about that one stream that I did going into it, the first stream I did going into it. And that was the one and only one someone specifically came up and complimented me on. So that really gave me the encouragement I needed to continue to feel safe enough to come in here and open up more to you guys. So thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Daryl James. I really appreciate that, bro. Can you tell how tired I am yet? Okay, I'm going now, guys. I'm going. Say goodbye to me. Someone say bye on the thing so I can know I can leave. Dismissing the teacher here. Come on. Come on. Someone say bye. Bye. Good night. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. I love you guys so much.